So the big news is that Logan Paul is finally offering refunds for his failed crypto project CryptoZoo. And look, on the surface, it really does sound like he's trying to make things right after, what, 3 long years? But as we're about to see, the story behind this offer, well, it's a lot more complicated than just a simple, "I'm sorry."
All right, let's just dive right into the heart of it, because the first thing you really need to see is this. This massive gap in the money. The total damage from CryptoZoo is estimated to be around $18.5 million. Now, get this. The refund Logan's offering, it's just $2.3 million. That's only about 12% of what people lost, which means a staggering 88% of the money, it's just gone, unaccounted for.
Okay, so to really unpack what's going on, we're going to break this whole thing down into 4 main parts. We'll look at the refund and all the strings attached, then the tokens that aren't being refunded, then this brand new lawsuit he's filed, and finally, we'll try to figure out what it all really means.
All right, first up, the refund offer itself. It's been a whole year since Logan first promised he'd make things right. But the deal he's putting on the table today, it looks pretty different from what he first talked about.
Yeah. And this is where you got to read the fine print. First off, victims only have a 30-day window to even make a claim. But here's the real kicker. To get your money back, you have to completely give up any and all legal claims you have against him. What does that mean? It basically kills the class action lawsuit that people have been fighting for this whole past year. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. For 3 years, he told everyone, his fans, his investors, that he was working on the game. And then, buried in this refund announcement is the bombshell. The CryptoZoo game is officially canceled. It's just not happening. The one thing people actually paid for is never going to exist.
So you see the switch, right? Back in 2023, the promise was this no-strings-attached buyback, and he swore the game was still on its way. Fast forward to 2024, and the offer is basically, hey, please drop your lawsuit, and by the way, you're not getting a game. It's a total fundamental shift in what he's actually offering people.
Okay, let's move on to the second piece of this puzzle, because this is where that huge $18.5 million number really comes back into play. We need to talk about the money that isn't even part of this refund deal.
So, to be super clear here, the refund only covers the cost of the egg NFTs. Think of that like buying a game console. But it completely ignores the Zoo tokens. That's the in-game currency, the stuff you were told you needed to actually play the game. And that's where, according to this analysis, almost all of the money was actually lost.
So why isn't he refunding the tokens? Well, in his official statement, Logan Paul says the buyback is for people who wanted to play the game, not for those who, quote, gambled on the crypto market and lost. So he's drawing this line in the sand, basically calling anyone who bought tokens a gambler.
But, and this is a big but, that's a total contradiction of what he said before. See, he originally sold the Zoo token to everyone as the currency you needed to support and play the game. It was supposed to be a utility token, not just some random crypto you gamble on.
And that brings us to the real head-scratcher here, the core question. If the token was, in his own words, created to support the game, how could he possibly turn around now and call the people who bought it for that exact reason gamblers? It's a contradiction that kind of blows up his whole argument for only doing a partial refund. Okay, on to part 3 of this whole saga, the lawsuit. At the same time he announced this refund, Logan Paul also announced he was suing the so-called bad actors who he claims ruined CryptoZoo. He's basically trying to paint himself as just another victim here, looking for justice.
And get this, he claims this lawsuit is the result of his own exhaustive investigation. He says he's the one who personally uncovered all the wrongdoing from his old team. He's basically trying to come off as the hero detective who cracked his own case.
There's just one tiny problem with that story. The analysis points out that the discoveries from Logan's investigation, like the developer who lied or the partner who secretly sold tokens, are the exact same findings that YouTuber CoffeeZilla published a full year ago. And, surprise, surprise, Logan doesn't give him any credit.
And what's more, just look at this timeline. Even after Logan got rid of these bad actors way back in late 2021, he had total control of the project for more than a year. And what happened in that year? Development just stopped. Why? Because according to the source, his own team stopped paying the new developers. So the project didn't just fail because of other people. It fell apart on his watch. So, okay, we've looked at the strings-attached refund, the missing tokens, and this blame-shifting lawsuit. So what does it all mean? What's the final verdict here? Let's put all the pieces together and see what kind of picture emerges.
Really, the whole argument boils down to three main takeaways. 1. The refund, it's not really about making people whole. It's a bargaining chip to shut down a much bigger lawsuit for pennies on the dollar. 2. The tokens, just ignoring them is a super convenient way to avoid refunding most of the money that was lost. And 3. The lawsuit, it looks a whole lot like a PR stunt to shift all the blame and take credit for someone else's investigation.
And all of this leaves us with one big final question. Is Logan Paul a hero here, finally making things right, or is he just a really smart scammer trying to save his own reputation? You know, based on everything we've looked at, the answer, it's not so simple.